I want to introduce you to some new products coming from Farrier Product Distribution and Bloom Forge. These are the new fully carbide studs. The entire stud is carbide, not just that little tip in the center. So they're very hard, and they last really well because of being solid carbide. So in the process, we've also introduced a set tool for each of the two studs. Notice that the larger stud is a C11, smaller stud is a C13. That's marked on each of these. Also, the larger stud, the handle is in a spiral, so you can tell the difference. This is straight, that's a spiral. And if we look at the ends, you notice the end is concave. That's to match this stud as it goes in. And the other one is flat. That matches this small stud. So also on the market, you'll be able to find this at your supplier. This is called a step point drill. You notice that it tapers up. It has cutting edges on both sides, and then a typical grind on the tip. This is a 17/64 bit. 17/64 is the bit that works the best with the two studs. Don't use any other size. 17/64 is what you want. The uniqueness of this bit is that when you go to drill, you don't have to punch. You don't have to center punch where your stud's going to go. This thing will start in on its own. Sometimes you're going to bump into some trouble with the stampings, so maybe you'd want to put a center punch where you want the stud to go. You know, you want your medial to be inside, and your lateral to be a little bit outside, that type of thing. So maybe you'd want to punch that. But in the toe, we'll show you. We're just going to set it up and drill without putting a center punch mark in. It also has a nice set of cuts, bevels on the back end for locking into your chuck. That's kind of cool too. Mark the heels of the shoe. We're going to put the 11s in the heel, and we're going to put the 13s up in the toe. So we're just going to mark these back here, and we're not going to mark the toe. So, you know, where do I want it? This is lateral. So lateral, I'm going to put the punch out here. Medial, I'm going to put the punch just in a little bit. All right. We got that marked, and we're not going to mark the toes. So let's go to the drill press. It is capable of drilling without any fluid, but it's a really good idea that you use some kind of oil when you're drilling with any bit. So it's just, that's in the way, isn't it? I'm just going to put a drop on there. This will get noisy. Make sure that when you come in to do this, that you're not hanging the whole shoe off of your drill press. Support it so that you get a good solid drill position on the shoe. So you see the way that this bit drills. You're kind of used to, on a normal drill bit, you're going to get big curls coming off. Because of that unique tip, everything stays in this fine little chips when you drill with this bit, which is kind of cool. That worked pretty well. Let's do the other side. Put a drop of oil there. The other nice thing about this bit, you notice that when I was starting to penetrate and actually go through the shoe, sometimes on a normal bit it'll catch and jerk it in your hand or things like that, but this is so small on the end that it just very slowly works its way through, so you don't get that locking up somewhere. All right, let's try a toe one without any kind of. We'll put it about somewhere in there. It's just starting to come through, but it's not grabbing. It very slowly works its way through the shoe. No real jerking motion on it. That came pretty nice. Let's put another one over here. Penetrated again. Fairly slowly work my way through that. Good deal. All right. All right, we've got our holes drilled in the shoe. Now I want to set the studs. I'll put that in and just try to get it nice and straight. If you come in with an old hammer, soft hammer, that type of thing, a brass hammer or anything like that, and you go to hit that, this is what it's going to do to your hammer. You know, so it's going to create this rough area. And what we found with this, because we've experimented a lot, but once this is in your hammer, it has a tendency to catch the caulk and knock it out of alignment. So it's probably not recommended that you do that. That's why we're using the sets. So we can get right over the top and be nice and straight. And keep your eye on this and watch right there. We still have a little bit of space. We can come back, give it one more hit. Just keep looking. See, now that's set pretty tight. And that's enough. You don't have to. This is an SX10, so we're a little thick, which is good. We're not bottoming out with the caulk. But that's good. Right there, that's nice. That's tied up against the shoe. That'll work. Some of the thinner shoes, if you use this, and you're going to have to be careful. It may stick up a little higher, simply because it bottomed out already. So just pay attention. If it comes to bottoming out, stop. If there's a little gap here, that's fine. But you don't want to keep beating on this, thinking that you need to get it to that stage and be that tight. When on a thinner shoe, it probably wouldn't do that right. We're going to put the two little guys, the 13s, up front. If you look at these, and it's on all of them, but you see you got the taper of the caulk itself, and then right at the end there's a little bevel. Okay, so that now the whole thing isn't making contact. It's easy to get it in. It lines out pretty fast because you've got that relief, and it goes right down into that 17/64 hole. And then this just lays on top of that. So give it a little tap. Now we're set. Same thing as with the other one. We don't want to bottom out into the anvil. How close are we? We could use a little bit more. Look at the relief we got here. We still got some room. We don't have to worry about the anvil. So I can bring it down to where that caulk is flush with the shoe. And just the tip is up. There we go. Just like that. How far we can take him? One more. There we go. I could use one more. There we go. So this is the set. This is the set you need to properly put in the studs. You need a 17/64 spit, your studs of course, and your set tools. So key points. One, on the 11s, you want to make sure that you don't bottom out onto the anvil or onto the shoe. You just leave just a little bit. That works perfect. On the 13s, the key point there is just don't bottom out on the anvil. You have to remember that these studs are solid carbide, so they can be brittle. If we're going to beat them into the anvil or beat them into the shoe, they will break. So just take your time, watch what you're doing,